switch. Gobert's out there. Doncic maneuvers for the lead. Got it! Got it! What a shot!
I really thought the Timberwolves would win this series. I'm not even going to lie. Heading into the playoffs, few expected the Timberwolves to excel as they have. After sweeping the Phoenix Suns and clinching a Game 7 thriller against the Nuggets, their confidence is soaring. Reaching the conference finals is no small feat in the Western Conference, but now they face the Dallas Mavericks for a shot at the NBA Finals. The Mavericks have had a stellar year. After going down 3-0, there's really no hope left for the Timberwolves, but I'll go through exactly why I thought they were going to win it all. Among the 4 teams left in the playoffs, I believe Dallas will win it all, but Minnesota seemed like the top runners for me. When you look at it simply, Minnesota has one of the deepest rosters out of the 4 teams left in the playoffs. Compared to the Celtics or Pacers, the Timberwolves have more depth in their starting lineup than the Pacers and a stronger bench than the Celtics. The only one that rivals their roster seemed like it was only the Mavericks. The Wolves' starting lineup and bench are both very talented, and they have a great mix of young talent and veteran talent, propelling this team very far in the playoffs. But really, it all starts with their defense, and this graph shows exactly that, displaying all 30 teams this NBA season and their defensive rating. This just simply shows which team has the best defense in the NBA. At the bottom of the graph, you have the worst defensive teams this season, with the Jazz and the Hornets. Towards the middle, you will see the Clippers and the Warriors. And at the top are the Celtics and the Magic, ranking number 2 and number 3. Because the Wolves are at the number 1 spot with a rating of 108.4 on defense, above all else. Their defense has been so amazing in the playoffs. In Game 2 of the Timberwolves vs Nuggets, Nikola Jokic gets passed the ball by Reggie Jackson. With Kyle Anderson on him, he passes the ball to MPJ, who then quickly passes back to Jokic, which Kyle Anderson intercepts it, saving the ball. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker leads the charge from defense to offense and scores this layup on Michael Porter Jr. And this is why they beat the Nuggets. Besides defense, key players gave them the best chances of winning it all. Minnesota's 6th man of the year, Naz Reid, has been the X factor in the playoffs so far for the Timberwolves. His ability to show up when it matters most on both ends of the court is unbelievable. He really displayed resilience and confidence in the series versus Denver. And he honestly has been one of the best options on defense to stop the powerhouse in Nikola Jokic. Now, I'm not saying he was able to stop him completely, but he was able to contain him relatively. Highlighted in Games 2 and Game 6, as he contained Jokic to 16 and only 22 points. These aren't horrible stats, but for the standard of Jokic in the playoffs, Naz Reid did his best on defense. In Game 2 of the Nuggets versus Wolves, in the second quarter with 9 minutes left, Jokic has the ball in his hands. He gives it to Murray with Alexander Walker on him and Naz Reid trailing. Murray shoots a step back midi with McDaniels guarding. Jokic gets the rebound and gets pinned by Naz Reid. Murray ends up with the ball as it's getting fumbled around, but then loses it again, and Peyton Watson ends up with the ball and he passes it back to Murray with Jaden McDaniels on him. Jokic ends up setting him a screen. Naz Reid switches and looks like he gets a piece of Murray's shot. Regardless if this was a foul or not, Naz Reid recovered and played amazing defense on this Nuggets possession. Naz has been great for Minnesota, but the other standout players like Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards have been magical for the Wolves. What they have been able to do in the playoffs is lock up your favorite point guard in a jail cell. Besides the Game 7 win versus the Nuggets, every other win Minnesota had was mainly because Jamal Murray did not play good. He was not himself in this playoff series, which injuries could contribute to this, but regardless, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, and the Timberwolves held him to very low scoring and bad efficiency in their win versus Denver. In their comeback win in Game 7 versus the Nuggets, The perimeter defense was on full display here as Reggie Jackson has the ball. He's taking it up the court with Alexander Walker on him. And Jokic comes out to set him a screen, and Cat doesn't switch and has enough time to get back to Jokic, forcing a turnover. And this is what Minnesota has been able to do consistently. Minnesota's defense, however, is just part of the story. When you look at the competition that was left in the playoffs, initially Minnesota seemed like the best ones left, as the Dallas Mavericks are dealing with injuries as their best player, Luka Doncic, is playing through one right now against Minnesota. And when you look at the opposite conference in the East, there is and was not much competition outside of the Boston Celtics. The only two teams left in the East are the Pacers and the Celtics. And not to discredit Indiana, but they played two different injured rosters to make the conference finals. And Boston has had a great season, but they also had one of the easiest runs to the conference finals. Surprisingly, it goes deeper than this. It seemed like Boston lacked something that Minnesota had very much of, and it wasn't a defensive or offensive edge, but it's actually Minnesota's ability to tune up their game when it matters most in the playoffs. Boston can be clutch, but being clutch against the best teams in the league is a different story. Boston just doesn't have that killer mentality to go out of their way to win at all costs. While they had a great season and might make the finals in pretty easy fashion, their lack of killer instinct could be their downfall. However, Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves showed us this mentality when they beat the Nuggets with confidence. Even though they went down 3-2 in the series, they were ready to win at all costs. And Ant was trash talking when they were losing, which is scary to think. Edwards has been elite in the playoffs so far, and he illustrates a great leader for a playoff team, which hints at why they ended up beating the Nuggets. He also has this immense amount of confidence and personality, which is shown.
Testing all his shots, and he's a great player, man, and I feel like I did a good job tonight.
Did you really tell the locker room staffer in Denver you were going to be back for
Hell
games?
yeah. They know I was in there. Yeah, I told them. I said, I'll see y'all motherfuckers for game 7. Yeah.
Ant has this immense amount of confidence and was able to back it up. He looked like a superstar until Dallas just simply solved him, which gives his team an edge to everyone else left in the playoffs. Ant is just one of those players that lives for the playoffs, as he plays 5 times better in the postseason. He tends to tune up everything: his offense, his defense, his leading, everything. In game 7, during the third quarter with 10 seconds left, he shows his offensive armory as he's sizing up Aaron Gordon at the top of the 3-point line. But the Nuggets know he's likely going to shoot the ball. With the buzzer winding down, he makes his move, steps back into a 3 for the splash for his team. And his defensive arsenal is also on full display in game 7 as well. As Murray gets inbounded the ball and he has Anthony Edwards on him, Jokic goes to set a screen, but Ant steals the ball and leads the break for a dunk at the end of the third quarter, showing dominance. Ant has been leading this team all this way, but the Timberwolves have this bond. Only the Mavs really show us this. Now, this isn't the complete deciding factor to their winning, but this has developed their team chemistry, leading this team to the conference final. They retained about the same roster as last year, but they were able to develop their team chemistry this year and bond as a team, which gave them another reason to win it all initially. But the Timberwolves are down 0-3 in the conference finals with little to no hope. And they bamboozled me with the Nuggets series, seeming like they were gonna win it all because of many reasons. But what do you guys think? Who do you have winning the championship? And what made the Timberwolves fold against the Mavericks? Anyways, thank you for watching. I appreciate all the love on the videos. Subscribing would be amazing as we're on the road to 500 subs. It's a big goal of mine for this channel, and subscribing is free, but God bless all of you.